Never in my wildest dreams. I mean, every time I walk in that building, I pinch myself, because when I think about how we cobbled together and just sort of held together, and then even when we moved into the original portion, that was more than we ever thought we might see in our lifetime.
I didn't ever think I would see anything like this, for sure, in my lifetime.
And the times were right, because there were mayors of Phoenix who were interested in the downtown area, and there was this vacant land, and T-Gen had been brought into the vacant land, and there was these school buildings that were Phoenix Union High School one day, but the auditorium was used for traveling. I don't know what went on in the school, but it wasn't used as a school at that point in time. And the city was willing to make investments, and somehow everybody's been willing to make investments and build something that's kind of unbelievable today.
Medical students have come to Phoenix really essentially since the inception of the College of Medicine in Tucson. But in the late 80s, during an LCME visit, it was noticed that there were so many students coming to Phoenix that they really needed to have an administrative presence here. When I assumed the job, I was the associate dean. I had an assistant, and we had an office at the County Medical Society building. We started meeting with the key people in the disciplines, as well as the DME. They were called DMEs then, Directors of Medical Education, now DIOs. So we got together and we had, I think, pretty much monthly meetings or so for a while. So the students in 92 and 93 had to go back and forth between Tucson and Phoenix for portions of their clerkships. So the second year of the existence of the campus, when we put those clerkships in place, was a key change, because that allowed the students to then move from Tucson to Phoenix for their entire third and fourth year. They no longer had to go back and forth.
She called me up one day because we knew each other, but the idea was, Jim, since you run the residency program, how would you like to put together a psychiatry clerkship for the third year here? You and Sergio are the missing pieces to the puzzle for us to pull this off. And I said, where do I sign up? And I thought that was a great idea, because I've always wanted us to have more of a medical school presence here officially in the Valley, and saw that as heading in the right direction.
And then, you know, I have very fond memories of us evolving. I think everyone in Phoenix worked hard to work with the University in Tucson, but it became apparent that needs were different in two places. It never felt like it was going to go away, because they really needed to be able to provide good education to their students, what we had to offer, and we had a lot to offer.
We would have other schools or potential schools come and visit us to see how to be a successful, I don't know if we were a branch campus. I remember one specifically.
We were.
So it was Fairfax.
Called a geographically separate.
Right. So, but people would come to see how we did it, how things were integrated in the community.
The wonderful thing about educators is that we were able to put aside where we came from, which hospital, which institution, and this was sort of like a common safe ground. And decisions were made with truly what we thought would be in the best interest of educating students, not necessarily what would be in the best interest of institutions. And for a long time, I think that...
To today, we have to say it's still happening now.
I think it still exists. So I think the commitment to the U of A, to the state school, and to the developing campus here and the synergies is crucial. Very core and very foundational. And the governor was the one who created a commission that would look at the development of the Phoenix campus. And Mitch and Alan, I believe, were on that with a few others and some people from Tucson. And it was that commission's job to look at what the next iteration of the Phoenix.
And there was a lot of excitement with the concept of being able to have students from beginning to end. And
the day that the new building opened, I drove to all the other sites. I drove to the County Medical Society building and looked, just parked there for a second. I drove to 3rd Street and Indian School, and then I drove here. So it's just that emotional, wow, I just had to pinch myself. I couldn't really believe it. Really, when you think of it in academic time, this is like light speed. I mean, academics traditionally moves very, very slow. For us to have done this in this community in 20 years is phenomenal. Well, these guys aren't done yet. We have a brand new medical school.
Yeah.
So we are starting, not all over again, but we are starting from a very different point with yet another opportunity to build something different, innovative, and again, look at the way that we work together in a distributed model. And a commitment, my mantra for many years has always been, I hate to see in communities this town gown phenomenon where the community docs fight against the academic docs. It's just unhealthy and it's not good for patients. And my dream was always here to have the town be the gown, to be just the same, so that the folks out in the community were really a part of the medical school. And so far, that's the case, and we'd love to have that continue.